from their recent international experience, but can you blame them? They came in from APAC South as a second seed team, Knights in fourth. There is a real chance here that Elevate could take it 2-0 if they can show up on their map pick.
The Knights, they'll have to dig deep to beat Elevate on this particular map pick. Elevate, they're very proficient at Oregon, and Thatcher to be the first ban to go out for the Knights.
Wow, so unusual. Thatcher banning.
Wow.
Unbelievable. I guess it does mean that you're probably going to see Maverick in unless... Nope, there you go. Elevate love their Finker bans. They really do. It's not even like, oh, we're playing this team, they love Finker, let's ban. No, it's just every single game. Hey, what are we going to ban? No, it's not even a question, it's Finker.
I feel like it's fair enough, honestly. So many teams play Finker now. Finker's such a staple entry as well. So, yeah, I think it's fair enough to be taken off. But Kai to follow in the ban phase, along with the Thatcher as well, means that those hatches will have a little easier time getting opens for the attacking half. So good ban there for Elevate, them starting out on the attack. Final ban to come out for the Knights will be the Aruni. Oh boy, here we go.
Onigiri, just the target ban. I'm sorry, Onigiri, it's just not happening, mate. You don't get that DMR, at least not on defense. You might get one on attack if you really want, and we probably will see it. In fact, fun fact, this is the map, Oregon, where Onigiri broke the 6 invitational kill record. He was a monster. I believe it was 25 kills in a single game?
27.
27?
7 kills?
Oh my god, that's even more than 25.
That is more than 25.
That's a significantly more than 25. 2 more than 25, in fact. Was it in? I think it was in their Rogue match, which was eventually, you know, a loss to them. Oh, sorry, no, they did win it. They won the series. My god, my memory is shocking. That's why I have all my notes in front of me, and yet I still get it wrong, even with the notes telling me the correct answers. It's like when you take a cheat sheet into an exam, and yet it's still somehow not classified as cheating, and you're like, haha, I got the cheat sheet, I'll be right. And then you fail.
And then you copy down the formula wrong into the exam. Or something silly like that.
No.
Oh, one day. Anyway, the Knights starting down on Laundry Supply, and they're actually looking for quite an extended roam here, bringing out the Mozzie and the Malusi as well, with the Mirror to be the lone anchor here on the site for the Knights. This is something that we've seen them do quite often, actually, and I'm not sure about the other regions, but particularly in the APAC and ANZ region, this was the team that sort of coins this roam play on Oregon.
Yeah, they do quite like it. You can see that hatch reinforced in attic. We've got these mute jammers upstairs as well from Josh. I quite like it. I do wonder, however, if Onigiri is going to be able to backstab, if he's going to be able to get away with something a little bit cheeky. He wasn't a big hitter in map 1. In fact, Stiggs, the man we're spectating right now, he was the big hitter. 20 kills in a game that he lost. And Onigiri is actually the early death, so that knock, not going to be knocking on the doors.
The Knights now able to hold on to this roam. Elevate once again looking for that round 1 cheeky play directly into the side, but not working out in their favor. Now 1 down on the mound count, and Knights still holding on to that entire map control. Sapper now making his way into lobby, crouch walking through the building, seemingly undetected by the Knights.
Oh, he goes into split as well. Banshee does alert for just a second. Is Sage watching this angle? It looks like he might just be. Only barely, though. I mean, he might get timings here. He's got to be careful. Making a lot of noise is Sage, and I mean, Sapper is surely going to get this kill. It looks like Knights don't quite realize it may be a matter of time, and there you go. A nice pick for Sapper, as Knights' utility doesn't quite help them enough to counter that sneaky play.
1 pick traded back means that Quiz will elect to fall off, but Juicy putting down a pretty cheeky mirror window here into Elbow will mean that Elbow control for Elevate will become a little bit harder, for them, Mark being the only hard breach left for this attacking roster as well, and now starting to drone out the site, amounting for a late round execute. Mark now putting down his exothermic charge onto this mirror, with the square as well to follow, and they will actually make a breach in, but it's not vaultable because of that mirror window.
And it also doesn't destroy the mirror window, so that is an advantage to the defense who can now use it. However, man advantage falls squarely into Elevate's favor, and Juicy is really feeling that pressure. Doesn't quite land the shot he needs to, and then is blown off the surface of the earth. Just Quiz now, a 1v4 turned 1v3, has a C4, could try and deny plant if he can get a position to, but Sapper is there holding the cover, and he gets the job done for Elevate. That's a good opening round on the attack.
Elevate picking apart the roam of the Knights. They're taking their time through T1 to eventually clear out that meeting player of Sage and forcing Quiz to fall off earlier into that mid-round. So well played from Elevate, although that they had lost their sort of crutch into the bomb site a little early into the rounds. They don't fall under that pressure and pick apart Knights one by one. And the Knights, just not enough utility on that site to wait for that, wait for the Elevate late round push into them. And yeah, eventually Elevate able to get that bomb down, leaving Quiz in the 1 versus 3. That's always going to be a tough one to win for the Knights.
Guess it goes to show that if you invest so heavily in your roam and it doesn't work out, you don't have much stored up in the bank on site. Now let's see if Knights rotating up to dorms will have any more success. Interesting stat I noticed on that that pre-game stat graphic that we saw Rob and Guz looking at before. It said that in APAC South there was a 92% defense win rate on that laundry supply room bomb site. And it was the most played bomb site as well. Like, that is insane. That is so defend-decided.
But the attack winning out in that round.
I know. There you go. We see it. We find ourselves an anomaly.
Ooh. The Knights now deciding to go to that top floor instead, going to kids and dorms and playing an extension over into trophy with the shield, and actually a rotate going out into T2 of the tower as well. So Josh will hold on to this position for as long as he can while Elevate starts to approach the building. Onigiri starting out on that armory rappel while all his teammates circulate around that trophy power position.
Elevate are a team that can amazingly sometimes play really, really slow and still have immense success in the late round. We saw that a lot on Theme Park. How many times did it go down to 25, 15 seconds left, and then they would erupt in like a 4v5 and still win the round. Just a lot of drone work for now, deciding what the play might be. A lot of information on this drone. That's a really strong position for them to have. Now Armory control as well, clearing this trophy position quite easily. Elevate have a lot going for them.
They certainly do, and Onigiri now sitting inside of Trophy can start to use the nades and the Gon 6 to clear any power positions that might be in the site. Mark also rotating over those Hobana X Kairos to start opening up the breach. Although Quiz is down below with the Nitro Cell, I do think we did just see Quiz pre-place the Nitro Cell on that default plan, and that's right next to the futsal table there inside the bomb site. So Elevate, if they leave it too late, it might come to the demise.
Elevate do have information on the side.
Onigiri!
Onigiri's just walked on in through concrete, goes for a second, but does get traded back. So on the whole, honestly, I think Knights are pretty happy with that one. A big player gone down.
Elevate now having to pick up the pieces here from Onigiri's entry, but only 1 minute left to go. 2 smoke babes still left for Juicy, and Quiz is holding on to that security control. DCH, he has some idea that Quiz is here though. Oh, will he take the fight?
Quiz is also trying to protect his C4. A drone comes out ahead, and that gives DCH the info for an easy kill. Now, DCH can lock down any flanks downstairs. Can't hear that C4, not that it matters anyway. The player wielding it is now dead and cannot detonate it to deny plant.
Mark now looks for the entry with Sapper to cover, and only 38 seconds left to go, but the entire bomb site is smoked out, and that's the diffuser on the floor.
Giving a chance now for Knights. But DCH is not done yet. He takes down Juicy, and now looking for the entry as well is Sapper. But Josh, how many kills has he got from proning in this position? I would love to know. He doesn't have a C4. Sage does have an impact, but he's just going to make the impact with his rifle. As he finds that first kill, looking for the second one. Diffuser goes down. Oh, this is a bit too close for comfort, but the duo does get it done in the end. And Elevate go down. Knights can win their first round on this map.
The old guard of Knights in Sage and Josh to win out the 2 versus 1 there in the post plant for the Knights eventually amounts them 1 round on the board. So it's very exciting for the Knights. Finally getting into this matchup here on Kids and Dorms. Well played from them as well. Lots of restraint we saw, although Onigiri walked into the building and found a pick. Sage didn't freak out looking for that refrag. He went, okay, Onigiri's going to keep pressing the W key and eventually walk into me. So lots of discipline here on this roster. And that's what makes Oregon so strong as an anchor-centric map.
There are 3 things that are certain in life: death, taxes, and Onigiri pressing the W key.
Yep.
Like, those are the things that you can just count on every day of the week. Doesn't matter what, Onigiri does Onigiri things. And sometimes that's amazing, sometimes not so much. We've seen him be the opening kill every now and then. And in this series, he hasn't quite had the impact that we would... I mean, he's a very hyped up player, right? And he hasn't quite had that impact in this game as of yet. I've been singing Stiggs' praises. I was amazed he managed to get the 20 bomb on map 1, even when he lost. And he is the #1 top-rated opening KD player in all of APAC South.
That's a pretty exciting stat to hold. Like, especially for a player returning into this roster as well. Coming back from Fnatic in APAC North, right? This is a very exciting return for Stiggs. And he's done so well, and he's really come to life with this roster. They've really enabled him, I feel is the right word to use here.
Speak of the
here
devil.
He is, looking for a spawn peek onto Onigiri, the man of the hour as well. Taken down now to 50 HP. Oh, what a start to this round.
And he wants more. Look at Stiggs. Absolutely no fear. He has been droned, though. Safest to get back to site now. A lot of damage done to Onigiri, who does manage to find that opening kill. Stiggs now really feeling that pressure, finds Mr. Punch, and gets away with his life. So that is a worthwhile trade for Knights. However, both Onigiri and Stiggs are quite low on HP.
Trades going either way for either team, but not losing out on anyone too important. All the utility that is still critical for this round is on the side of Elevate, so they won't be too upset from that loss. Sage now playing the same position here, E-meeting, but will be more aware of Sapper's push. Is he trying to do the same thing against Sapper, push through lobby? I think that is an outline there around the garage side of the map. There it is. He will still look for this same push. Again, meeting control is the next point of contention for Elevate.
Yeah, and Elevate got it so easily last time around. Sage was punished and was not allowed to fall back thanks to Sapper pushing in through split. It looks like Sapper has once again got a drone and information on Sage, who seems none the wiser, does a bit of damage to the already lit Onigiri, and now Sapper goes in looking for this pick once again, and Sage does fall. As the timing comes out from Onigiri, timing his push with Sapper, Quiz falls back to the bomb site, but it might not be enough here. Elevate have once again dealt with this clear so handily.
The Knights now left in a 3-on-4, but Stiggs taken solo from that opening engagement is essentially a 2-on-4 here for the Knights. It's going to be very tough here in this late round. Mark now rotating over to the blue bunker side of the map. We'll look for that. Breach into elbow once again, but there is again this mirror to contest. Oh, but it's shattered this time. Juicy will not be able to see on the other side, and the Capital Bolt's actually prepping for this execute here. 38 seconds left to go.
A chance, though, for the Knights does lie in the C4 plant denial, should they be able to achieve it. Elevate, they're not rushing into situation as of yet. Juicy still holding his C4, waiting to let go and detonate. Stiggs, though, does find the duel. Despite being low HP, he's still ever so deadly with that carbine. Quiz as well, dueling on the long angle. Knights gonna try and deny this plant with the C4 from Juicy. He goes over and it gets stuck, but it does bait out DCH. If only Quiz was alive to deny with the C4, it might be something, but it just is not there. Elevate, once again, prove how good they are at attacking this laundry bomb site.
Although that back push from Sapper didn't quite work in that late round, the Plantanal wasn't there from the Knights, the first C4 missing, and in Quiz, he wasn't able to rotate over in time to start preparing for the next Plantanal step in that defense, and so Elevate eventually able to capitalize on that late round. And wow, Onigiri, he's just so sharp with the cover, finding 2 picks at the end there as well, so Elevate really picking apart the Knights, taking their time, they're not rushing into anything. That's the big thing that we see here on Elevate. Each time they get into that basement, they take heaps of time to open up that solo wall. They take lots of time to open up elbow. Elbow makes sure that they're fully prepped for that execute before they rush in and go for it.
And these gunfight exchanges that we're seeing go down, it feels very 50-50 a lot of the time. When it's actually just a straight heads-up gunfight, Elevate are really, really good. Knights also really, really good, so you can't predict it before it actually goes down. Both of the teams have been stepping up, but Elevate seem to have that basement attack under lock and key, forcing Knights now to try something different. So meeting and kitchen is brought out here. Crazy to me that we're seeing this bomb site, which has a 92% win rate on defense in APAC South in the laundry supply room, and Knights just cannot find any luck down there at all.
Well, I suppose, again, it's the way that Knights approach that particular bomb site. Typically, we see a very strong anchor hold in that bomb site, right? Lots of utility put down for shields and the like, maybe even plant and all. But in that particular round, so much utility is dedicated to the roam. And Sage, he felt really trapped there in meeting. He didn't find the timing to drop through the hatch, not learning from the mistakes of the previous round. So it just feels like Knights in this entire series so far, lacking in adaptation. Lacking in counter-stratting. Like, there's no anti-IGLing coming out from this team so far, so we'll have to see if they can change their approach to bring themselves back into this game. Elevate now, they have to attack onto a tertiary bomb site this time, and it seems like they're just going to go straight for a linear attack into tower with the Ossa.
Hey, get to see that again. Also seeing the Goyo come out from Sage. That means the fire trying to be used to delay this bomb site execute doesn't seem to have borne much fruit so far. Onigiri is so keen to make an entry here. He's actually going to go over with the nade. It could land right on Juicy, but he overcooks it. Gets a little bit burnt in the process. Juicy is now really feeling that pressure here, and Sapper finds the opening kill. That C4 dead. And Onigiri, I mean, Elevate in here just looks so well positioned. Sapper's found a double, and it's a matter of time. Less than half the round down, and Elevate is in the middle of their execute.
Elevate now getting the bomb down on the Sage as Sage looks for the retake but has no idea that Sapper is hiding in the corner ready to cut him off. All of Elevate now posted up in this impossible post plant here for the Knights. There's just no way they can retake this.
And the only way that happens is if Stigs and Quiz go absolutely nuts. But Quiz is down. Stigs, you managed a 20 bomb on the first map. Can you manage a 1 versus 5 in 20 seconds? He does get the first. I mean, he's good, but I don't think anyone is good enough to 1 versus 5 Elevate in a post plant like that. Another convincing attack makes 3 in the half for Elevate, and Knights really struggling, in dire need of some help.
Elevate, I'm a big fan of the tower only push. It's very minimal. You don't need much control. You just need to get the one breach open into the site, make sure they aren't playing on that attic hatch, and that's about it really. Now you can start going for that plant, make sure you don't get flanked from the basement. It's pretty simple. Elevate keeping it simple and finally able to find that plant into the bomb site later into that round, but just not enough players there for the Knights to play the retake. No trades came out even. There was nothing to contest that push at all, and it's really enabled by that Ossa as well to just get straight into the bomb site, and there you go, Mark is free to plant there. So well played from Elevate. Ossa really has been brought out quite a lot, I feel, in this entire playoffs bracket so far, and has been used to so well for those plants in particular. You can place your Ossa shield down, turn around so you don't pick up your Ossa shield and get that bomb down. So it's really worked out, and the Knights, once again, doesn't feel like they're addressing the problems that Elevate are bringing to them on this attack.
And even if Knights can bring back this defense half to a 3-3, that does feel like the bare minimum on Oregon here for defense. It does feel like Elevate would still be somewhat favored going into the second half when they switch onto their defense, especially considering how map 1 panned out, where Elevate's attacks look to be a bit lackluster for the most of the game. I'm really starting to feel a bit worried for Knights here, Mandy. They started so good in this series. They had 4 match point opportunities on Theme Park, and ever since then, it looks like they've been a bit dejected.
The Knights, I really feel, had to bank on that gamble of Theme Park working out for them in this particular series. They took us to it, and they looked so good on it. They really looked like they had a unique approach to that map. They were doing things that Elevate weren't ready for. But over time, Elevate were able to eventually learn the way that the Knights play. They're eventually able to crack that formula. And now here on Oregon, it's time for the Knights to do the same. They have to crack the formula of Elevate, but so far, they haven't been adaptable. That's not the Knights that we know from this particular series. So, like you said, it's worrying signs here for the Knights.
Certainly is, and it feels like one of the only saving graces that the Knights have had this series is Stigs just stepping up and going massive, and we've seen how aggressive he's wanted to play in this map as well, spawn peeking time and time again, but you can't really rely on that. You can't at all rely on that, and if Elevate can counter that, then, I mean, he's going to get shut down. It's already happened this game. Elevator just slow and steady. That's the way they like to play. 2 nades over the top onto Sage, but neither land. Is Onigiri just going to walk into Concrete again?
Oh, here we go again. Oop, maybe not this time. Throws down a drone instead and we'll back out into Armory. Elevate looking to do a very minimal, again, attack onto the bomb site, only looking for Master and walking control, while DCH prevents any C4s from below. So similar approach from the last time we saw them attack this. 1 minute left into the round. This time, Quiz has kept his life and Onigiri hasn't managed to find an early pick. So showing signs from the Knights, but I jinx it completely as DCH finds the pick and it is now keyed in to make sure he doesn't get killed from this vertical.
I mean, this really just feels like the same round again, doesn't it? Elevate are so good on these attacks. And Knights have just about nothing going for them. They're about to feel the full brunt of this tie team as the execute comes through. And that is 5 for 5 plants. Confirmed. Ooh. No, it's not. I spoke too soon. A C4 to deny. And now Elevate, well, they have plenty of time to work with here. Have Knights got anything else going for them now that Josh is shut down? It's just Sage on left, and with the pistol, he does not manage anymore. Elevate have managed to get a 4-1 lead and are just looking so strong here on Oregon.
On the flip side, Knights, they don't look comfortable at all. They're getting caught out from silly angles, entry points that they don't have their gun up, lines of sight that they're not watching, that type of thing. It feels like silly mistakes that are giving Elevate the free opening pick into every single round that we've seen here. Quiz, when you rotate through that ground floor, you have to be careful. You've set up those rotation holes yourself. You need to make sure that DCH, he's done it one round before. You need to expect it for the next one. The Knights, it just feels like they're not comfortable on this map. They have to take that extra step. There's no autopilot, if you will, on this map. They're making silly mistakes and it's causing them all of these opening deaths.
And there's all kinds of pressure on them now, knowing that a couple of rounds and they'll be eliminated from APAC playoffs and from any opportunity to make it to this Charlotte Major. And I mean, it's been a long stage. And with this tactical pause, they will try their best to come back, but let's be honest, like, it's been fairly fruitless. Every single round here, Elevate has managed to get that diffuser planted, and only one of those rounds was Knights able to retake. The plant denial has been scant. The opening engagements have been so good for Elevate, dominating the early round. In fact, there's only been a single round in this map so far where we've seen an opening engagement from Knights. That was the very first round.
I think if there's any time for the Knights to come up with a new game plan, that is their tactical timeout. So here we see them repeat laundry again, but change their approach this time. This time, hatches are reinforced. We're bringing the mirror and the smoke. The smoke shield is going in elbow. So let's play something more anchor-centric. Let's not roam, because when we roam, we give away free picks.
That's it, isn't it?
The different approach from the Knights, they realize that they need to change up the strategy. Otherwise, they're just going to keep feeding rounds and rounds and rounds and opening picks to Elevate, and nothing is going to work out their way. So now we see a much lighter roam. Just Josh here looking for some drones before he'll probably fall back onto the site. Elevate now also changing their approach. Both Mr. Punch and Onigiri starting to convene over on that elbow side of the map, maybe looking to try and get early blue control.
And the Lion's Roar does lock the players on the defense in place as they fall back to site, and that is, I believe, 5 for 5 Knights players back in the basement. There you go. If you want to, you could not count Josh. He's currently on the freezer stairs, but I mean, he'll be down before long. He technically is still on the basement floor, and revealed again by that Lion scan. Elevate should take map control very swiftly here.
The Knights sitting in what we consider very default power positions here, holding onto pillars control, as well as this spot here on the blue bunker doorway, and Juicy still with the shield up. So Elevate, they have their work cut out for them in the late round this time, which is not something that we saw the last 2 times they got to this basement site. By the time that they got here, there's pretty much nothing to contest them. They were able to flood the site. DCH now has actually brought the hard breach charge on the Ying to try and get some of these hatches open as well, and the Ying, that'll play a very pivotal part in the late round.
Speaking of, we hadn't addressed that yet, but Elevate used the repick to their advantage when they saw that this was a full anchor site setup. They brought that X-Factor operator of the Ying. There's so much time now for Elevate to figure out what their push is going to be. Oh, Sage doesn't quite land the shot. That would have been a kill and an early advantage for Knights, but an opportunity goes begging. And this is a must-win round for the Knights. They cannot afford to lose it. They've already lost the first player.
Elevate now shaping up to do a Laundry and Freezer push. 3 players now down the Laundry stairs with Sapper slowly pushing through Freezer. Josh will be the main point of contention here for the Knights defense with Sage to play the crossfire. 45 seconds left to go for Elevate, but they have the players that they need. They have the man advantage.
Wait a second, a chance here now, but DCH goes in, shuts them down. Look at that double. Now a 3v2. As just Stiggs and Josh try to retake. That was a nice little tap there. DCH is down on the ground, making this a 1 versus 1. But Stiggs doesn't know. DCH trying to crawl. Stiggs may well hear it. Doesn't have much info. As that plant begins to go down, he sees the injured player, finishes him off. A 1v1. Can you believe that Sapper sticks that? But Stiggs wins the clutch. And Knights finally break through, get a second round on their defense, and can go into the second half with just a glimmer of hope.
Knights on the back of that tactical timeout to eventually find a round win, changing their approach completely. No more roam, no more shenanigans up on the ground floor. Let's just sit tight and wait for Elevate to come into a crossfire, to come into our line of sight. And I really want to highlight there, Josh, he held onto that highway hallway, which is what we call it there, the hallway just going into Laundry, so well. He held that power positions for such a long time, even with DCH flooding into the site with all those Candelas and allowing Stiggs to eventually play out that 1 versus 2 retake and defuse the bomb for the Knights. Just, wow, Knights so disciplined. That's what we know from this roster.
You know what? You know how Stiggs kind of like walked past Blue and just like shot 2 bullets through that electrical murder hole? Like, that was the 2 bullets that downed the Ying, right? Imagine if he hadn't just gone for that pre-fire. Like, no info. I think he just kind of tapped it as he walked past. If he hadn't done that, that would have been a 1v2 retake. Very, very difficult. A very different story. So there you go. You miss every shot you don't take. And Knights need to take every shot to come back in this game. It's not like the series is over by any means, but just by how dominant those Elevate attacks were. You really feel sympathy for the Knights. You really feel like Elevate have the momentum squarely in their favor now on their own defense, on their own anchor setup on Laundry Supply. We look to Knights to see if they can break through.
And it's even tricky for the Knights as well because they took their tactical timer on their last defense round. So in those 45 seconds, what are you going to talk about? Okay, how are we going to win this one final round of the half, right, to bring it to 4 and 2? Now they're on this attacking half. If Knights start to make the same mistakes over and over and over again, they won't get that tactical timeout opportunity to try and change up their approach like they did on their defense half. So the Knights going in blind, going in, having to adapt on the fly rather than having a second chance at adapting. So we'll have to see whether they can be a bit more proactive here on this attack.
So he's already taken some early damage. I didn't quite see if that was a spawn peak or where that action went down. Mark in an aggressive position in tower. Surely if this is just a swing in, I mean, that's a freebie for Mark. Does give away his position. Josh shouldn't over-aggress here. And Mark falls back. Onigiri as well. So that's all 5 players back on site now for Elevate. With Valkyrie cameras, though, up and about, I wonder if that's to enable flanks or perhaps just to give that late round site information so that Elevate know where Knights are coming from.
The Knights now starting to clear through the ground floor, having known that the top floor is clear to them. Stiggs starting to open rotations for his team to be able to traverse through the map a little easier. So Juicy, now we can see he's also got his ex-Kairos out, can start to get some of those hatches open and they can mount for this late game push.
We did manage to see where those Valkyrie cameras were. There was one in meeting. It's got so much vision. I don't think Knights have any clue. That's going to give so much information to Elevate as to where these Knights players are going to be pushing in the late round.
The Knights now looking quite indecisive on their push so far. All the players spread across through the ground floor. Doesn't seem like they're mounting for anything in Sapper. He's actually got a power position here at the bottom of the freezer stairs with a shotgun, no less, and 2 ADSs. This is going to be very hard for the Knights to clear.
There's also Magnets, but he actually falls back. Not many drones left for Knights, however, and that does make it difficult, especially with Stiggs going down. You can see Knights have no clue that the smoke has fully fallen back and forfeited that power position in freezer. Now, Knights finally spot out that Valkyrie camera in meeting, but this is going to be a late and a desperate execute.
late here for the Knights, and Elevate still with all 5 players up. Mark to be the first point of contention here on this attack, but Josh gets the better of him.
Looking for a second now. You simply do not have to let go of left click, but Onigiri with the wall bang. Knights an opportunity now as they make it a 3-on-2. Sage has to force this plan down. It's just Onigiri left, and he is swiftly dealt with. The Knights show that they can bring the fire on their attack as well.
Wow, that is just unreal from the Knights to have made that round work on the back of Josh clearing out that pillar's position, enabling his entire team to start flooding the back of that side, and Elevate not able to win out on those trades. They had all those anchors posted up around Laundry, around Freezer. They weren't ready for that push from the Knights. That was so explosive in the late round.
And the first round, this map, where that diffuser hasn't been planted, believe it or not.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Every single round on Elevate's attack half, they planted the diffuser. Of course, 2 of those rounds, Knights managed to disable it, but it just goes to show Elevate's ability to execute was pretty phenomenal. And Knights, I mean, it was sketchy, it was scary, but managing to pull out all of the frags there in the latter moments of that round definitely put that pressure onto Elevate, who are now going to repeat that same bomb site with one tiny modification. One little operator that could potentially be the bane of Knights' existence, and that is the Warden. And guess what? It's Warden also switching off of Valkyrie. So even if Knights had heard the MPX shot in the prep phase, they probably wouldn't have realized that's not actually Valkyrie's MPX.
But Knights have switched off the Ying onto the Hibana.
Wow, that was last minute.
That was a very last minute repick there for the Knights, and they won't be playing into that Warden in the late round, although there are still flashbangs on Hibana, so you never know. It might work out for Elevate in the end anyway. The Knights now starting to sweep across the map as they push this time, looking for the roam clear straight away, with Stigs probably once again entering through the top floor with the sledge. We'll get lines of sight open onto the ground floor, but it seems like all of Elevate, they're just going to sit on the site. They won't contest this roam at all.
Yeah, one operator we didn't mention that Knights have managed to repick into is this Monty. We saw Monty brought out on Theme Park. We really liked the idea that Knights had. They finally changed their attacks. However, Elevate dealt with it perfectly with a vertical C4. Now, a lot less opportunities to get vertical C4s on this map, on this bomb site, and to kill the Monty. Well, there you go. It's not going to be easy to C4 a Monty when you don't have any, do you?
Yeah, Knights are now starting to swiftly clear this roam, seeming that there's just no pressure here from Elevate, and expedited even by this Monty push. Now they can start working on those hatches, and Monty even bringing out the hard breach charge for these hatches as well gives a lot of flexibility to the Knights.
You can see Juicy as well. He was scanning the room looking for the Valk cams as well, because he noticed that there was one from Knights in the prior round. Mr. Punch, though, in this power position in blue, not feeling any pressure as of yet, but I've got to say, if that Monty does march on through, it could be a really strong way to clear that position. Usually you play your smoke in there. Smoke's a great counter to Monty, but the water, not so much.
Oh, and here we go. I think you've just told the prophecy. The diffuser and the Monty now starting to push through blue. A drone goes out to check what is there for the Knights, but they have an entire minute. They've made so much time in that mid-round turn, early rounds. They have lots of options. Sage, I think he's used just about every single X-Kairos in his pocket to open up all the hatches for the Knights, so plenty of options here for them, but they will need to get a move on. Only 1 minute left to go and no casualties for either team.
There's a real chance here, though, for the Knights, using this Montaigne to clear Mr. Punch, and Elevate actually fall back and reinforce over this elbow position. Managed to get a kill with it, 2 kills with it, and retain pillar control. Mark has been so damn good, and he's hungry for more. He finds the triple kill, looking for the 4th, and a flawless round for Elevate, thanks to this man right here.
This time, Mark not losing out to Josh. In the last round, Josh opened up the round for the Knights, taking that pillar control. But this time, Mark going, nah, I'm holding on to this for my dear life, and finding 4 kills for the side of Elevate. Oh, wow, that's just an incredible play from him.
Unreal. I mean, what was that? The space of about 10, 15 seconds? Mark sprints on through and finds 4 kills. I think strategically, Knights pretty damn good that round. I think everything worked really well up until Mark just gets 4 kills. How do you analyze that?
Well, I think the difference here between the Knights attack and the Elevate attack is that Elevate, they were really good in the early rounds and in the mid rounds. And what it meant is that they had lots of options open to them, and they had so much time that they could reattempt bomb plants, for example. We saw, even though the diffuser planter might have died, they had someone to replace them. Whereas with Knights, in these last dying seconds of the round, there's no redundancy. Once you go in, that's your one shot at getting it right? So the Knights, when they come in to this attack, they don't use that mid-round and early round control like Elevate did, right? Even though they had so many options for them in that particular round. And Elevate, Mark wasn't going to make that same mistake twice.
No. And, I mean, crazy to think he got that many kills. Like, just to win a 1v1 in a position like that, like, good on you. To win 4 1v1s, yeah, crazy. I mean, he was hungry for more, and he kept going back for it. Now Elevate just one round of securing series point and eliminating Knights from the APAC playoffs and any chance of making it to the Charlotte Major in May. Elevate, they've never been to a major before. In fact, their first ever international event was the Six Invitational, which, by the way, they qualified for via points, thankfully, because this Elevate roster, historically, time and time again, has failed to qualify for major events in these big games.
Like you said, Elevate, they're looking for more consistency for these international showings. It's been a tough year for them in the last year. They missed out so many times, but now is the time to prove themselves going into the next round of this playoffs bracket. The Knights now starting to mount their roam clear, but DCH looming on the top floor.
Mark to support as well from top white, a good crossfire they can maintain. But this is, I mean, nothing Knights have not seen before. Very much a staple way to hold this kids' dorms area when defending this top floor, or rather these ground floor bomb sites. But are they going to actually breach this position? That's what I'm not sure about.
And I want to say this is very slow from the Knights. Like, all of their players now have reconvened over on the tower side. Sage is actually the first one to push into Attic even. Maybe they're not going for this roam clear. Maybe they're just going to try and hit the back of the site and leave these roamers be. Quiz, maybe the point of cutoff here in Trophy. And there we go. Sage actually does find the cutoff through that Attic hatch on a rotating player back into the site.
The thing is, do Knights really need to clear this position in Kids Dorms? I don't think they do. They ideally, though, should take out this default camera in T1. That's a bit of a blunder. And Mark is, in fact, going to use that information to go for a flank up big tower. This could be devastating.
Yeah, the Knights now have control of tower, but not turning their back on Mark.
No.
And here comes the late game flank for Mark.
Is the default cam still up? Please don't tell me that default cam is still up. No Claymore, nobody watching. Mark, he finds the spray down. What is that? And now it looks all but inevitable for Elevate to take it to match point. Quiz versus 2, a desperate drop, but there's no diffuser and no hope. Surely for this round, Elevate, on the back of another huge play from Mark, find themselves on match point.
Mark has just been so incredible in this match, time and time again, showing up in this series against the Knights. And the Knights, you can't have your back turned to a player like this. This is just a massive oversight from them in this late round push.
Oh, devastating for the Knights, because Elevate are taking advantage of every opportunity that they are afforded. I don't know whether that default cam was still up at the end of that flank, but you could just tell by watching Knights the absence of mind they had to that flank.
Yeah.
Like, everyone was clearly like, oh no, someone else is watching that, right? Like, no drones downstairs were shot, no claymores were placed, and the default cam was up. No one was hard watching the angle either. And this isn't because Knights doesn't know that they have to do these things. It's the pressure that gets to them, that causes and forces their hand into making these crippling, debilitating mistakes.
And the Knights, they're going to have to dig extremely deep if they want to come back into this game. It seems inevitable now. Elevate match point here on their map pick as well. So this is a really tough match for the Knights, and they just have to elevate. They just have to make no mistakes here. Sapper, I think, has actually brought out the pulse shotgun. This is exciting.
This is just a classic, isn't it? This is what we love to see from Elevate, what they're known for. We may well see the prepped window jump out from Sapper. He can also, of course, drop down the garage hatch for an escape as well, but I think we're going to see him jump out this balcony. It's going to happen, surely. I mean, here we go. 3, 2, 1, bang, 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 easy as you like. Sapper going to try get back in. He gets traded, but damage done. I mean, that is just such an insult added to Knights' injury.
Oh no, the Knights, they're going to be kicking themselves over that one. Poor Quiz, just wanted to get into Armory. But he didn't expect the Sapper shotgun. Who would?
Nobody expects the the Sapper shotgun.
Now the Knights having to mount an attack with one less set of grenades on the board for the roster. Starting to get control into Master. Rotero drones are going out for Stigs, trying to clear some of that utility.
And that pressure is mounting for the Knights. After a valiant showing on map 1.
Oops.
Yeah, I mean, I miss that jump all the time. Not gonna lie. Oh, just look at this from DCH. He runs out, sees the feed, doesn't land it, tries to get back upstairs. And our Knight should know his position on the Armory side. And there's just so much work to be done for Knight. So much map control they do not yet have.
That being said, there is progress being made here on Attic with a combination of Sage and one of his teammates. And Styx, he was using those Rotero drones over there on the Master balcony to try and clear out the power position there in Trophy. So progress being made. Still a minute 20 left in the round. That's plenty of time for the Knights. And there we go. Six trying to contest this peak here from DCH. And we'll have to see whether this engagement goes in their way.
Oh, and look at this as well. Mr. Punch keen to go for potentially a run out, a jump out the window to pick the players on the Master balcony. There is so much that Elevate is doing to get up in Knights' faces, not give them a chance into this game. They just want to breach the main wall, and Josh has been down, but not our Sticks, has not checked the player at top main. DCH is surely going to find that pick, but no! Knights find 2 picks they probably shouldn't have. And now there's an opportunity for them.
Mark now keyed into the push. 42 seconds left to go. 4 Knights to mount an attack, but 2 players in Attic proning, looking through the prone holes. What is this? The firing squad from the Knights inside Attic? This is so strange.
But it could work. Proning, looking through the holes. There's no doubt about it, man. But walking on through, Mr. Punch managed to get a free kill. No trade yet from the Knights, but eventually they do get him. It's all on Mr. Punch. This has got to be a 1v3. Feeling the pressure, though, he goes down. And the Knights can breathe a sigh of relief as they keep campaigning for their spot in the major.
Elevate getting a little bit too excited there in that final round, giving away 2 picks, 1 on the Master side and 1 from the Attic push, and the Knights capitalizing on the overconfidence of these Elevate players. And it all starts with here, this Sapper jump out that eventually gets traded out. And yeah, the trade's working in favor of the Knights in the end for that final push going into Trophy, going into Kitchen. I've just got it wrong twice. What is going on with me today? Going into Kids and Dorms, which is typically actually quite a defender-sided bomb site as well.
Oh, I'm just glad that Xenox and Guz aren't here, because they love to say that Dorms is the bomb site that you have to win in order to win Laundry, in order to win Oregon. But I don't know, I guess I just miss Jake, you know? I'm so sad. I don't know why he's not here. Devastated, to be honest.
The chaotic energy's gone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just like having him around because I feel smarter when he's around, because just by comparison, he's not quite the brightest. So I just feel better about myself, you know?
It's a bit mean.
I know, but that's kind of normal. We're just kind of mean to Xenox. That's how it works.
Or Xenox. At least he's in here to hear it. Anyway, now going
he's
back.
definitely watching this VOD. You know,
is he?
No doubt. He's absolutely going to be watching this.
Oh dear. I'm sorry, Jake. On behalf of this Casa duo, we've been very mean to you. Elevate now on match point. They don't want to throw away this round. This is their time to try and make an appearance at an international event. This is the rounds that they want to just get over and done with, so that in the next round they can qualify in, right? So no more mistakes here from Elevate. No more overconfident peaks. Now going down to the laundry and supply room bomb sites. Again, we can see a very anchor-centric setup for Elevate.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, we are seeing the Ying. This time on Josh and the Monty to support as well. Previously, Knights looked like they had a lot going for them on this attack until Mark got 4 kills from that pillar position. So if Knights can learn what they need to from that round and try not to take these 1v1s with Mark, then they should be pretty well set here, especially with that Ying.
And another thing is Knights, once again, they've been given the entire map control at their disposal. So early and mid rounds, lots of options for the Knights. They don't have to funnel in and do this late round one time only type execute. They can put a bit of redundancy into the execute if they choose to, and if they start to get a move on in this round as well. Josh now starting to get himself into the building, hatches start to get open, and we'll have to see what kind of attack the Knights want to go for.
Is it going to be blue bunker again? We've seen it from Juicy before. We saw the way Elevate peeled back and reinforced off that wall. You don't want to be dueling Mark on that position, though, I tell you what. He has been pretty hot in his shot in these last couple rounds.
I mean, I wouldn't want to be dueling Mark at all. This is a power position. This is time to send in your flashbangs and your grenades, so you don't have to take this kind of gunfight. This is a scary gunfight to take, and against Mark, all people as well. Onigiri actually goes for a late reinforcement onto the solar wall. Oh my gosh, he gets away with his life. I can't believe it.
Yeah, that is a very overconfident reinforcement in the late round from Onigiri. Only 1 minute left. Elevate playing the patient game. They know that they could well eliminate Knights here and punch their ticket up to face Talon for a spot at the Major if they can win this round.
Josh now starting to send in those Candles, but here we go. The infamous 1 versus 1 with Mark, but Josh wins it out this time. 35 seconds left to go, and Sage will start getting into the bomb site.
There's no stopping now. Knights have to keep on pushing. Another match point against them as Elevate try to lock out the series. Onigiri holding on as long as he can, but the man of the hour has got to be Sapper to prone in the corner, and wait, he finds Josh. He's not good for another one though, but Elevate have managed to maintain a 3v3. It's an execute for Knights in the 2v1, but that diffuser is on Quiz, and he's got to plant it. There's no hope now. Missed a punch in the 1v1, and Elevate can dismiss the Knights. They punch their ticket forward to face Talon for a spot at the Major.
Elevate not capitulating under that pressure, not falling apart with that first pick from the Ying. All the Candles fly through, but Elevate, they are too good on those trades. They are too sharp for the Knights.
It was a grueling slog on Theme Park, but Elevate came up the winners. They fended off 3 match point opportunities for the Knights, and when it came to their own map pick, well, it was fairly cut and dried. A confident win for Elevate on Oregon, and that'll fill them with confidence going into their match next week against Talon. Or is that tomorrow? That's tomorrow, isn't it?
That's tomorrow.
Oh my God.